Hi, you're listening to Behind the Bib podcast with Lisa Watkins. Real talk for every runner. Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bib, where we have real talk for every runner. I'm your host, Lisa Watkins, and I'm delighted to have you guys back for another episode. Hey, guess what? I just saw on Spotify that Behind the Bib had reached 500 downloads and streams, and that is a huge accomplishment. So this is officially episode 23. I didn't know if I was even going to make it past episode 10, but I am having so much fun, you guys. I absolutely love talking to all these race directors, to all these run club directors, going out and doing these races, talking to runners, talking to people about why they're so passionate about this sport. I am having just the absolute best time. So thank you. If you have listened, if you have liked, if you have followed, if you have done all of the things, thank you for doing all of the things. It really does, I'm a real person sitting behind my desk in my upstairs bedroom and recording this podcast. I am out there, doing these community runs with you. I'm out there doing these races with you. I really do live here in Huntsville. I really get up and go to work every single day out there where half of Huntsville works, and come home and I research and I write the notes and I do the things for the podcast, specifically because I'm just so passionate about this sport and what it has done for me. And I honestly think that it is so wonderful and it can help other people out there. And that's why I do this, is so that I can hopefully help. So all that aside, thank you so much. Thank you so much for following, for liking, doing all of the things, providing me support, streaming. It really does make a difference. Even if you just hit play and you listen while you're doing the stuff at work, it really does make a difference in the algorithm and things like that. So thank you for every single like. Thank you for every single comment. It really does make a difference. It really does matter to me. So thank you. And if you've come up to me in any of the community runs, and said, hey, are you that podcast lady? Let me tell you, Jenny and Isaac, y'all made my night. So I don't know if you're going to be listening to this episode, but maybe somebody might be that knows you two. So at Pub Run this week, Jenny and super cute Isaac sat down beside me, and Jenny was like, hey, are you that podcast lady? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I think I am that podcast lady. So I was like, how about that? So she had gone out and she had listened to that episode where I interviewed Jeff and Jerry Plain, the organizers of the We Run Downtown Huntsville Pub Run, super popular run here in downtown Huntsville. So it means a lot. So Jenny and Isaac, thank you so much for sitting next to me and chatting a little bit about the podcast. I really appreciate that. All right, so no races this weekend, and this episode is probably going to be a little bit shorter because of that. And also, y'all probably just need a break from how long these episodes have been. I just get so excited talking to these race directors and these run club directors about why they love running and what their race is about and who it supports and all that stuff, that we just get going. And before I know it, we've hit an hour. So thank you to you that complete the full stream, because hats off to you. So I'm going to try to keep this episode a little bit shorter in consideration of those of you that have just persevered and going all the way through the hour-long episodes that have been, I guess, the past 3 or 4, maybe even 5 episodes have been pretty long. So with that, let's get into that new little segment that I told you guys about last time, which is the good reviews and bad jokes. I told you guys that my family considers me the best joke teller in the world. Obviously not. And so why not just share that love with everybody out there in podcast land, and you all can make fun of me the same way that my kids do. So with that, this joke goes out to, I forgot to tell you. So the reason I started good reviews and bad jokes is if you go out there and give the podcast a good review on whatever podcast review platform that you listen to Behind the Bib on, I will dedicate a bad joke in your honor. Now, I know sometimes it takes a lot to give a review, but it takes 0.05 seconds to write in a comment. And so I opened it up a little bit and said, hey, you know what? Even if you just leave a comment, I will dedicate a bad joke to you. And so this week's bad joke goes out to none other than Matt Fletcher. Matt, thank you so much for your comment. If you guys don't know Matt is the new race director of the Hill and Crank Duathlon that was a couple of weeks ago that was run in conjunction with the big run out there in Madison. So, Matt, I have an especially bad joke for you. Are you ready for it? Okay. What would bears be without bees? Ears! Ha ha ha! You get it? Bears, bees, without the bees. What would bears be without bees? They would be ears, because there's no bee in the word bears. Then it's just ears, right? So, super cute. Anyway, Matt, thank you so much for your comment on the podcast about having fun. I had so much fun with you as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so if you want a bad joke dedicated to you, leave me a comment. And heck, if you have a specific joke that you want me to tell, as long as it's nice and clean and PG rated, because I have to check a little box on here if things are not clean. And I don't want to check that box. I want this podcast to be open to everyone. So leave the joke. Heck, that would work too. Okay, you guys. So this past weekend, like I said, there were we didn't have any races, but we did a lot of community runs this week. So I'm really trying to up how many days a week that I'm running and trying to get base building going for marathon training that's going to be starting here pretty soon for the Every Woman's Marathon coming up in November. Oh, and hey, you guys, you know what I heard at Pub Run on Wednesday? I heard that there's more than just a handful of us now going to the Every Woman's Marathon. I heard that someone won the rabbit competition for a trip out to Scottsdale, an entry into the marathon. I think that might have been Amy. And so now, boy, people are rallying. So I think we might be up to 15 or so folks that are going out to Scottsdale for the Every Woman's Marathon. So if you are going out to the Every Woman's Marathon, let me know, because I think we're going to do some stuff this summer, whether we're going to do some long runs or do some, I don't know. We're definitely going to meet up in Scottsdale. That's for sure. So hit me up if you haven't already, because there's nothing that I love more than that stinking marathon. I know I speak about it. I talk about it until you guys are probably so tired of hearing about it. But so first, what I wanted to do is actually just introduce myself. I know it's probably been a minute, and if you haven't gone back and listened to the just hit record, then you probably don't know who I am. And you probably don't know why I have a podcast, and you probably don't know why I have a podcast in Huntsville, Alabama, and all of those kinds of things. So I thought I would introduce myself and say, hi, I'm Lisa. I am a runner here in Huntsville, Alabama, and I started Behind the Bib to provide a platform to talk about running and racing in the Southeast from the perspective of someone like me. So I'm not a traditionally fast runner. I don't look normally like you would think a runner would look like, but now that I've kind of changed my thinking, now I know that I am a runner and I do look like what a runner looks like. So that's the reason why I started Behind the Bib, is so that you guys can get an idea of the races and the run clubs and all the opportunities out there from someone that you might identify with. Because when I first started, it was very intimidating for me. And I don't want it to be intimidating for anybody else. And that's why I started Behind the Bib, so that we can kind of lower that barrier of entry to a sport that is so welcoming, so community driven, and is so, so, so good for you. So, I'm Lisa. I started Behind the Bib podcast this year in January. I think January, I can't remember the exact date of my first episode, but we're fairly new. This is episode 23. I record an episode every week, and I post on Friday mornings at 7 a.m. So I alluded to the fact that I don't really, I definitely call myself a runner now, but I didn't always call myself a runner. And that's because I had all these little demons that were talking to me, and it was my own demons that I was listening to and not what other people said, right? I don't want you to do that. Don't listen to those. I didn't call myself a runner for a long time because, number one, I wasn't fast. Number two, I didn't look like a runner. And number three, I took walk breaks. And number four, sometimes I take a lot of walk breaks. In fact, I use this little doohickey called the Gym Boss, and it tells me when to take walk breaks so I can focus on more important things, like talking about snacks with my run buddies. So those are all the reasons why I didn't call myself a runner. Well, that started to change, I guess, maybe 4 or so years ago. I started to surround myself with, curate my algorithm, so to speak, with runners that didn't fit the mold either. I thought there's got to be more than just me out there that feels this way, and it turns out that there were, and there is. There's a lot of us, in fact. I think it's the majority of us, to be honest with you. So I started following people like Kelly KK Roberts from the Badass Lady Gang in New York City, and I did lots of her trainings. I was on her team for a while. The Waddell Running Lady, she's out in Arizona, and she does these cool, really long ultra marathons. Run Strong Run. So Stephanie Dunlap in California, who paces 5.5 to 6 hour marathons. I think she's done something like 54 of them now. And then later on, I started following Mackenzie Rink from North Carolina, the realistic runner. And if you feel like you don't fit in, or like if you don't look like a runner, or you're not fast enough, or whatever, I challenge you to go out and look at your algorithm, see what you're surrounding yourself with. And if you want to surround yourself with different perspectives, like I did, then go give these people a follow. Heck, while you're at it and you're out there clicking like buttons and follow buttons and stuff like that, go over to Behind the Bib and click a like button and a follow button and do all the things. Because when you do that, it helps me get this content out to more people like you. Okay, and that's my number one thing, is I want folks to feel like they can come, they can participate, they know what to expect, and they can feel welcomed as well. That's my number one priority. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we did this week. So this week we had 3 community runs, and they were all essentially between a 5K and a 5 mile, right? And the first one I want to tell you about is a new run here in Huntsville. It's called the Park Run. And the Park Run is really, really cool. It is a global movement, totally free. It started in London in 2004. So what's that? Oh my gosh, is that 20? Is that 20? That's 21 years ago. Did I do that math right? I think I did. 21 years. 4 from 25 is 21. So yes. 21 years ago, it started in London, and they only had 13 runners and 5 volunteers. And what Park Run is, it's an absolutely free, timed 5K. It has course support, they have water, they have marshals, they have all of this stuff, right? And so if you're visiting a new city, or if you're a Park Run tourist, which those are things, Park Run tourists are absolutely a thing. It is so well organized. They provide the run directors with all of this stuff to do the very hard job, which is organizing Park Run every single Saturday morning and our local one starts at 7:30. So it's a free timed 5K. Now the one in Huntsville is at Hayes Park Hayes Farm Park Run. And that is down beside the new, like it's right next to the new Grissom High School in South Huntsville. If you're familiar with that, it's kind of off of South Memorial Parkway. So it's pretty close to like Angel's Island Coffee and the new Starbucks and the Home Depot and stuff down there. So it's fairly accessible. And I will say, I was looking up some statistics for Park Run. So they started in 2004 with just 13 runners and 5 volunteers. Now it's like a worldwide thing. There's 10 million with an M, as in M&M's, as in Mike. There's 10 million registered participants across 23 countries. You heard me right. Park Run is in 23 countries. And now, thanks to the stalwart British dedication of none other than Alistair Marshall, he's the one that brought Park Run to Huntsville. So thank you, Alistair, because now Huntsville is one of those cities out there that can offer Park Run to our community and to visitors. So here's the download on the Park Run. So it's out there at Hayes Farm. Like I said, it's on very close to South Memorial. It's on South Memorial Parkway, very close to Grissom, the new Grissom High School. It's a very flat course. It's out there on that Greenway. And there was no alligators this time. And if you know, you know. But it's a very flat course. Don't let the alligator thing like throw you. There's no alligators anymore. So it's a very flat course. Like I said, it's timed. You kind of go out to the end of the Greenway. You come back. You take a little diversion around the pond, what I call Alligator Pond, because there actually did used to be an alligator in there, and it was a very big deal in, Huntsville, North Alabama, to have a 10-foot alligator in one of our ponds. It was crazy. So you divert around the alligator pond, and then you go back around it, and then you go back to the start. And that's it. It's 3.1 miles. And when I looked at my Garmin, it was exactly 3.1 miles, and it was great. They do a fantastic job. They start on time. They have some announcements. They welcome new people. And here's the thing. I saw every pace out there. I saw runners. I saw speedy mixed speedsters, cheetah types. There was a good population of a solid mid-pack runner out there. And then there's the back of the pack runners. I tend to call myself more of a back of the pack runner, depending on the day. Mostly a back of the pack runner. And then there was a pretty large contingent of walkers as well. And here's the thing that is so wonderful. It is a free 5K that is timed. You have the course support out there and everything. And then you have the tail walkers that, follow everybody so that no runner is ever left behind, right? You're not going to ever be out there by yourself. And safe, right? There's safety in numbers, and so you're out there, and it really is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful addition to our community. Huge, big round of applause goes out to Alistair for organizing this and just taking it on. It's a huge commitment. It's a huge, it's a lot that he does. So thank you for doing this for our community. I really appreciate it. And I know everyone that does the park run and that visits and does the park run appreciates it as well. Afterwards, if you do go to the park run, go to, oh dang, I forgot the name of the Mexican restaurant. I will have to look it up and put it in the show notes below. But there is a Mexican restaurant that's right there in front of Home Depot. It starts with a V, and I can't remember it. But we go to the Mexican restaurant for Mexican breakfast right after Park Run. And so, it's a great, we sat out there, I can't remember how long, and we just talked. Just talked about running, talked about races, talked about family, and all the other things, right? And it was really, really wonderful. Now that park run was on Saturday, and then on Tuesday, I had the pleasure of going out to the Girl Power run with the Rocket City Runners. So if you listened to the episode previously that I recorded with David Whitehead, the founder of Rocket City Runners, super nice guy, super great guy. Man alive, is their social media so good. Oh my goodness. Their social media is just spot on every time. So, anyway, went to the Girl Power Run, which was an all-female run out at Apollo Park, which is out there beside Trader Joe's. Now, if you don't follow Rocket City Runners on all of the things, you should definitely go follow them. Even if you don't show up at a run, I recommend you show up at a run. But even if you don't show up at a run, their social media is just bomb. It is hilarious. They do a great job. So hats off to y'all. So I went out to the Girl Power Run, and here was the thing. It was so fun. I am such a sucker for any opportunity to dress up in a costume or douse my body in glitter and do all of the things. And this was the opportunity to do both. So they put it out there. They said, hey, Girl Power Run, come to Apollo Park. It's 6:30 on Tuesday. Wear pink, wear purple, do the glitter. And here's the thing. They had glitter and stickers and all kinds of stuff for people to use while you were there. So if you didn't have glitter and the things at home, they had it for you. And it was so wonderful. So we walked up. It was a small group when I first got there, but it quickly grew large. There was probably, 50 women and girls out there, everyone from little girls to old girls to young girls to like every size girl. Like we were all out there. And it was just delightful. Oh, and the women's rugby league, I'll have to look up their exact name, but they had some players there, and they were super cool, and I talked to them afterwards, and it was like, oh, wow, rugby. That sounds pretty neat. I don't know if my 47-year-old body can do rugby, but I don't know. Maybe I'd try it. They look pretty badass. Probably shouldn't have said that. They looked pretty awesome. They look pretty awesome out there. So the Girl Power Run was wonderful, put on by Rocket City Runners there at Apollo Park. We did, if you didn't know, I didn't even know there was like a little greenway out there beside Trader Joe's. There's like a whole park. There's a whole park out there. And so we just did several laps around the park. I think we went about maybe 45 minutes. And so if you got 2 miles in, if you got 3 miles in, if you got 5 miles in, that was like, you just got however many miles in you can, because it's just like a big loop out there around the lake and everything. It was really pretty. And then I got to make some new friends. So hello to my new friend, Talia, out there. She's doing the Every Woman's Marathon as well. I'm so excited. So it was an honor to run with you during the Girl Power Run of the Rocket City Runners on Tuesday night. I really did have a good time, just chit-chatting about stuff and life and podcast and things like that. It was super fun. So Rocket City Runners does a great job. They have a system, and I was telling people, like, it's the only run that I show up to and I stretch, like I warm up like for real before, and then I stretch for real after, because we as runners are like terrible at that, right? But Rocket City Runners, they get in a big old circle out there in the grass, in the field, and then they do a warm-up, they do jumping jacks, they like do some deep squats and things like that, and scoops and all the things that, like runner warm-ups should be. And so they do that, and it was great. And then, you go run your race, and you run your run, or you walk your walk, or you walk your run, however you want to do it. Open to everybody, open to every pace, welcoming for sure of every pace, every size, every shape, all of the things, right? And then when you're done, they gather again in the field or wherever they're going to be, and they do a cool down and they do stretching, and it's led, so you don't even have to think about, oh, what am I supposed to do next? I don't know the stretches I'm supposed to be doing. Well, at Rocket City Runners, you don't have to worry about that because they lead it for you. And you don't have to struggle to hear them. They have microphones. Even if they're not comfortable speaking into the microphone, they use it anyway because they know that it helps the people out there. How cool. Anyway, super fun run. Everybody showed up in glitter and pink and purple and tutus and all the things. It was ridiculous and it was awesome all at the same time. Isn't that fun? Okay, let's see. That was run number 2. Run number 3 this week was Huntsville Pub Run. So honestly, you guys, I think this was my favorite pub run. And I know that this might be not some people's favorite route or whatever. And actually, we thought that it was going to be canceled because the weather was pretty intense there for a little while. And even my run buddy was like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, come on, we can do it. We'll just run faster. Well, she did end up finally coming. And thank you for doing that. And so we head out on the run, and the run is fine. We run by Huntsville Middle School. The course is this course was fairly flat. There was some light elevation, but no true hills, right? Run over in the Blossomwood area, just make some circumnavigations of the neighborhood over there, and you run back. And this week was at Green Bus Brewing there at the Courthouse Square. And Green Bus was great. And they were just after the run, that's why it's called Pub Run, y'all, is that, a lot of folks hang out. They have cold beverage afterwards. I had a cold, they even have the athletic beverages, so the non-alcoholic kind. And they even had some seltzer drinks as well. And they have some light fare and stuff like that. And so a lot of these pub runs, they will have some kind of cold beverage to offer, as well as some kind of little nosh. And it's always wonderful because those are the two things that you want after you run, is something cold to drink and something to eat. And they have both. But let me tell you why this was my favorite one so far. So the run was great, right? We were it was a nice, easy run. We felt great. We did our intervals like normal. We met a new run buddy. Let's see. It was, I can't remember her name. It's not, it wasn't Mouse Megan, but that's what she said first. And it wasn't Mongoose Megan. It was Manta Ray Megan. That's right. It was Manta Ray Megan. So we all use animals to remember our names by. And I'm Llama Lisa. We run with Share Bear, and that's a whole thing. And Monkey Michelle, and there's been lots of others like Direwolf Dan and Koala Kate and all kinds of names. But it's just a little mnemonic device to remember the people that you're meeting on your run. And so we come up with animal names. That's how we did it. Anyway, we had a great run, ran through Blossomwood, came back to Green Bus, and you know what they had, y'all? Oh, it was so cute. And at first, I was kind of excited. I was excited. They had a caricature artist there at the pub run afterwards. And so it was super chill. You just kind of got in line and you waited for the caricature artist. She was charging a modest $10 for the caricature. And I was so... I didn't know what to expect. I thought, sometimes they draw and they exaggerate one of your features. Like if you have a big nose, they make your nose huge or huge ears or whatever. She didn't do that. The caricature came back so cute. Oh my gosh. I laughed so delightfully when she turned the little piece around to me. It was so stinking cute. Everybody absolutely loved this caricature artist. I will put her social media stuff down below in the show notes because you've got to go see the things that she does. It was so cute. And I'll also post some of the pictures from it too. Because the caricature artist was just solid. And so we just hung out as people were getting their caricatures drawn and just chatted. Everybody chatted about the Every Woman's Marathon coming up because so many of us are going now. And then I saw something that I've never seen before. So finally had to wrap up, started to head home, walk outside, and people are standing across the street taking pictures. I was like, what are they doing? I look up. And there is a triple, you heard me right, a triple rainbow in the sky. How incredible. So we had we had some bad weather. We thought that we were going to get canceled, et cetera, et cetera. We walked out and a triple rainbow in the sky. It was incredible. So I've got like pictures posted on social media if you're curious about what a triple rainbow looks like. And it turned out, for the most part, the pictures turned out, because you know how it's so hard to like actually capture a picture and capture the true beauty that the nature has. It just doesn't do a good job. But I got to capture some of it. So pub run, it was my favorite one. It absolutely was. Thank you to Cheryl, who's always like, she is our navigator extraordinaire. She's the one that takes the play-by-play and navigates us through the course as we're running the course. Like, we don't ever have to worry about where to turn, because she is fantastic and she pays attention. Unlike me, I'll just keep running and then realize we're off the course and we were supposed to turn 3 streets back, because I just get excited and we start talking and we start running and we're doing the things and I'm not paying attention to where I'm going. But thankfully we have Cheryl to do that. So thank you, Cheryl. Okie dokie. Well, you guys, I promised you that this episode was going to be a shorter episode this week. I actually do not know how long I've been going. Hopefully it has not been an hour and you've probably long since turned me off. If you haven't, thank you for still hanging out here with me. And I'm going to reward you. You know what with? So every week when I interview somebody new, I ask them, what is one piece of advice that you would like to leave our listeners with? Like, because everybody has a piece of advice, right? And this is something that I thought I would share my piece of advice for you this week. And this is something that I tell my kids all the time. And that is, just do it scared. So a lot of times the kids would come to me and they would say, but Mom, I'm scared. Or, you know, they have a presentation or whatever, and or an event at school, or a new sport, or a new event in the sport that they were doing. And they were like, but Mom, I'm scared. Do it scared. That's my best advice. Just do it scared. It's the only way we're going to grow. If you're not scared, you're not growing, because you're in your comfort zone, and you'll stay in your comfort zone, and you'll die in your comfort zone. So do it scared. Recently, I started going to the gym. I've gone to the gym like always, but I've always done the cable machines, or I'll just go and run and do the things that I'm comfortable doing. So what hypocrisy, right? I tell people all the time, do it scared, and then such a hypocrite, I don't do it myself. When it came to this one particular thing, and I finally, my daughter, bless her, finally said, Mom, do it scared. So I did. I started doing it scared. And it seems so silly to talk about it, like going to do the weights in the gym, like with the plates and the things and all the stuff. But there's something about doing it scared that helps you grow and helps you. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm crying on this podcast. But there's something about it, about doing it scared and overcoming it and knowing that you can do it and you can make it through one more thing, one more time, because you have the strength. And so that's my advice to you, is to do it scared. So if you're thinking about starting to run, if you're thinking about starting to walk on a regular basis, if you're thinking maybe I could show up to Pub Run or Rocket City Runners, or I don't feel like I fit in, or I don't feel like I'm thin enough or fast enough or enough. I don't feel like I'm enough. Please just do it scared. Show up. Send me a message and I'll show up and meet you. Okay. Speaking of doing it scared, we've got some upcoming episodes on Behind the Bib that I'm actually super excited. I'm excited about everyone. Who am I joking? I am so excited to be interviewing Mackenzie Rink from The Realistic Runner. She's opened a new run store in Lexington, Kentucky. And The Realistic Runner is her Instagram profile, and she does an amazing job on there. And she gives the perspective of a back of the pack runner, a 1330 girlie, as I think is what she calls it. And I'm excited about interviewing her in a couple of weeks, and so I hope you guys tune in. Also, I guess the little mark has faded now, but today I actually went and got the salt test that you guys heard me interview Josh Cornett and Dylan Glass from Return to Sport on. I went and had the salinity test done, or the salt test done today. Super cool, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming out on social media on all the platforms, and I'm going to show you like how they do all of the things so that you can go do it too, and you know what to expect, because it was super not scary. And then also I had the metabolic testing, the Pinot, I think it's called Pinot testing, over at Swift Recovery next door. It's not really next door, it's in the same place. So I just did one right after the other, and the metabolic testing was super easy. It's a resting metabolic thing, and I still haven't reviewed my report, but they sent it to me, and it's very long, and it has lots of information in it. So I'm excited to read that and see what it's all about. But that's going to be coming out on social media as well, so that you can get an understanding of what to expect with those two tests. All right, folks, I promised you a shorter one. I really, really hope that this is going to be that. But please do me a favor. Like, my holy airball moment is when I went out to Instagram and I was like 37 followers. Oh my God. Okay. So please go out, give me a follow for Behind the Bib on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm on YouTube as well for Behind the Bib podcast. So I would love it if you would love it out there on all the social media platforms. Okay, real quick, let's go over the upcoming local races and paid events. So the Greenway Grand Prix starts this Friday. That's tomorrow. Well, this is publishing on Friday, so that's going to be today. It's 3 miles, and it's the start of this new race series here in Huntsville. You can go out there and register for it. The link will be below in the show notes. On Saturday, we've got the Cookie Fix Cookie Crusher Huntsville 5K. On Sunday, we have the Run with Kenyans out at John Hunt Park. That's Sunday morning, June the 22nd. Coming up on June the 27th is the Greenway Grand Prix 4 mile. So it's the second iteration of the Greenway Grand Prix. The first one being the 5K, the second one being the 4 mile. And then on June 28th, you have the Helen Keller 5 mile and 1 mile. On June 28th also is the Pesky Piranha Youth Triathlon, if you got some itty bitties out there that's wanting to get into multisport. And then that brings us into July, which is the Freedom 5K and Independence Mile. That's on July 4th, as well as the Firecracker 5K, and that's on July 4th as well. And followed by that, on July 18th, is the third iteration in the Greenway Grand Prix 8K. They're still building each of those races. And then finally, coming up in July, on July 26th, is the 5K Gold Star Aloha Run Edition. And speaking of dressing up in costumes, that one's going to be a costume run and should be super fun. Okay, folks. So if you are interested in joining a run club or any of the run events out there, or looking for the upcoming races, there's a really sweet little newsletter that folks are getting now, thanks to the brain of the amazing Will Nevin. Will sits down, and on Sunday night, he sends out a newsletter with all of the runs on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all of the community runs, all of the 5Ks, the morning runs, the evening runs, the afternoon runs, the 3 a.m. runs. That is a thing. So you can go out there and register for that. There's no cost to it. He does it just because he's a stellar human being and wants to help our community. So you can just go to huntsvilleruns.com and you just provide your email, and then he adds you to the list, and you get the update on Sunday evening. Isn't that cool? Super awesome. All right, folks. One last time, please, dear God, go out and like Behind the Bib on Facebook, on Instagram. Share the reels, do the things, share the love. It helps me get this content in front of other people. If you don't think that little like thing matters, trust me, it does. Because if you spend time doing that, then the algorithm sends it to other people, and you know how all of those things like work. So, okay, folks, thank you so much for being here. Let's keep showing up for one another, whether you're first or whether you're last, or whether you're somewhere in between. I will see you all the next time we're Behind the Bib. Take care. You've been listening to Behind the Bib, where we have real talk for every runner.